Here's some unfortunate news to share, everyone. Most burger will be closing by the end of this month, so if you want to eat there, you better hurry. They've also got some new items. Another branch is closing on the 20th, so make sure to catch it in time. They've got this really healthy looking option where they use vegetables instead of bread, with a thick omelet and Wagyu beef, which is said to be super delicious. I think it's absolutely divine.
MOS Burger is a fast food chain established through a Taiwan-Japan technical collaboration. In May 2024, Taiwan's Safe Food Incorporation announced that its joint venture with Japan's MOS Burger will gradually withdraw from the Chinese market. This significant decision stems from a reassessment of overall development prospects. The company's board has passed the resolution for dissolution and liquidation, planning to concentrate resources on the Safe Agriculture Science Facility in Pingtung. MOS Burger has a history spanning 50 years and was the first to invent the rice burger, which gained a lot of popularity among consumers. At one point, it became the second largest burger chain in Japan, with over 1,700 stores globally at its peak. Reportedly, MOS Burger first entered China in the early 1990s, but withdrew due to poor management. It re-entered the Chinese market in 2010, opening over 300 stores. However, in May 2024, MOS Burger permanently ceased operations in China.
This store is a relic of the past. I haven't been to Xuzhou for a long time, and the 85 degrees Celsius cafe next to Aishan Plaza has also closed. It was the first 85 degrees Celsius in Hangzhou. I didn't even know when it closed. It seems 85 degrees Celsius is really struggling. Even the earliest store in Hangzhou closed last year.
The recovery momentum in the mainland China market has been weak, compounded by intensified price competition. The original Taiwanese Baking King 85 degrees Celsius closed 14 stores in mainland China in the third quarter of 2023, incurring losses of approximately 40 million new Taiwan dollars. In the fourth quarter, another 15 stores were shut down. The parent company of 85 degrees Celsius, Gourmet Master Co., stated that these closures were adjustments in response to local market demand and overall economic changes. Over the past few years, there have been plans to adjust the stores, primarily focusing on cutting weaker stores and retaining the stronger ones, a common practice in the catering industry. Founded in 2003, 85 Celsius is a Taiwanese chain that offers coffee, cakes, and baked goods, operating under Gourmet Master Co. It entered the mainland China market in 2007 by opening its first stores in Shanghai, and then embarked on a rapid expansion of opening about 100 stores annually. In 2018, while visiting ally nations, President Tsai Ing-wen of Taiwan made a stop in Los Angeles and visited an 85C cafe for coffee. This led to criticism from Chinese media, which called for a boycott by Chinese netizens. In response, 85C in China quickly issued a statement supporting the 1992 consensus and upholding the belief in one family across the strait. However, this response did little to quell the backlash. Not only did the Guangzhou store in Fujian face official food safety inspections, but several delivery platforms also delisted 85C. Chinese netizens were unsparing in their criticism, asking, "Why don't you leave? Can't you show some backbone?" After getting caught in continuous negative publicity, 85C indeed entered a challenging phase of trying to stop the bleed, from closing some stores in Shanghai and Xuzhou to exiting from Zibo and Zhengzhou. In 2022, 85C closed its operations in Changsha and Wuhan, officially announcing its complete withdrawal from the Wuhan market. The retail sector, too, has not been immune to the economic downturn. Large supermarkets like RT Mart and Carrefour, which were once ubiquitous in China, are now facing a wave of closures. RT Mart in China reportedly suffered a loss of 7.2 billion yuan and laid off 20,000 employees, leading to the collective closure of 13 stores, including branches like the Xuefu Road store, all announcing an end of operations. These closures continued after the Chinese New Year in February. In fact, from last year to now, RT Mart has closed 13 stores in China. Reports suggest that a significant withdrawal of foreign investment from the Chinese market has led to supply chain disruptions and insufficient overseas orders, triggering numerous business closures. Not only RT Mart, but Carrefour in China has also experienced a dramatic number of closures. From 2022 to the end of March 2023, over 90 Carrefour stores were shut down. The peak of Carrefour's operations in China was in 2017, with as many as 321 stores. However, starting in 2018, Carrefour began experiencing a wave of store closures, averaging over 20 per year. In 2019, Carrefour sold 80% of its stakes in its China's operation in Suning International for 4.8 billion yuan. The subsequent COVID-19 pandemic further complicated Carrefour's situation in China. Financial expert Xie Jinghe commented on Facebook discussing the state of Taiwan's economy. He said, "Is Taiwan's economy really doing well? Many indicators will give you the answer. The most direct is the flow of money. Everyone talks about war, but money, with its hundreds of feet, is continuously flowing back to Taiwan. It used to be that Taiwanese money was ankle deep. Now it's up to the ceiling. Just look at the stock and real estate markets for a clear picture." Xie Jinghe shared an observation recently that highlights the current state of consumer activity in China. He mentioned that a friend sent him a photo of dining at Ding Tai Fung in Shanghai at 7 p.m., and it seemed there were only one table occupied. Additionally, he received photos from Taiwanese finance magazine chief editor Wang Qiyi featuring companies like Bright Dairy, Yiling Industrial Group, Mengniu Dairy, Yonghui Superstores, and Lianhua Supermarket, all of which appear significantly diminished, suggesting that domestic demand in China is quite subdued. A well-known dumpling restaurant, Ding Tai Fung, whose second largest shareholder is the Wu family of Taiwan's Taiho Group, hinted in 2021 about selling their shares. Globally, Ding Tai Fung operates over 160 stores with annual revenues nearing 150 million US dollars. However, in 2020, their revenue plummeted by 25%, leading to major shareholders to possibly consider cashing out upon seeing developmental limitations. Examining Taiwan's restaurant industry, especially after China's zero-COVID policy, many businesses have faced severe hardships, mostly shifting eastwards to the west, turning towards the United States. Profitability hinges on two key factors: high gross margins and low consumption. Coupled with China's high unemployment rate and weak consumer spending, many well-known Taiwanese restaurant enterprises have closed some of their stores in China, with some having completely exited the Chinese market. For instance, Bai Fang Dumpling began its gradual withdrawal from mainland China in 2022. Bai Fang Dumpling is the leading brand for dumplings in Taiwan, boasting over 1,000 stores across small island. However, the brand has struggled to gain traction in mainland China market. The decision to withdraw from China is likely not solely due to the pandemic. The general manager, Zhang Ruilian, has revealed that about 20 stores in Fujian, mainland China, have been underperforming. Consequently, a plan to curb all losses from these locations was set to start in the fourth quarter. The chain restaurant group Bai Fang Dumpling is in the process of adjusting its operations, with plans to close 6 to 7 unprofitable direct-operated Dan Tea coffee shops by the end of 2022. Additionally, all 17 Bai Fang Dumpling locations in Fujian, China are set to close by the end of 2022, effectively marking the group's exit from the Chinese market. These closures are expected to result in an impairment loss of approximately 26 to 28 million yuan. As of the end of October last year, Bai Fang Dumpling operated 4 brands with 1,237 outlets across Taiwan, including 1,004 Bai Fang Dumpling stores, 183 Liang Shi Han pork rib shops, 10 Fengzhen vegetarian eateries, and 40 Dan Tea coffee shops. In Hong Kong, the group has 3 brands with 70 outlets, 55 Bai Fang Dumpling stores, 10 Bai Fang Qi Shan Bento, and 5 Bai Fang Taiwanese Noodle House. In the United States, following the opening of the first Bai Fang Dumpling stores, there are plans to open 2 direct operated stores each quarter next year, and the group does not rule out further expansion into Japan. Indeed, this isn't the first time Bai Fang Dumpling has undertaken large-scale closures in mainland China. As early as 2019, the company initiated a loss-stopping mechanism, abruptly ceasing operations of 18 direct-operated stores in Shenzhen and the Suzhou-Hangzhou area and closing another 6 in the northeast, totaling 24 store closures. This time, however, the announcement of 20 store closures in Fujian effectively signifies Baifang Dumpling's full exit from the mainland China market, leaving only Hong Kong with operational stores. The underlying reason for Baifang Dumpling's withdrawal from the mainland China market likely extends beyond the pandemic. The company has been unable to profit from its market over the past 7 to 8 years. Internal assessments concluded that it wasn't worth the continued investment. This conclusion is supported by financial reports from 2018 and 2019, which show losses from investments in mainland China. Industry analysts suggest that Baifang Dumpling struggles in the mainland China market is tied to local dining habits. There is a Chinese proverb, "Nothing is more delicious than dumplings," which emphasizes that dumplings are a traditional food staple in Chinese households, especially in the northern regions. However, Chinese consumers typically prefer to make dumplings and popsicles at home rather than dining out for these items or ordering them for takeout. Consequently, the primary reason for Baifang Dumpling's exit from mainland China market isn't pandemic related, but rather because the chain has been unable to turn a profit in this market. This cultural preference for home-cooked meals over dining out for certain traditional food has significantly impacted Baifang Dumpling's business viability in China. Secondly, Baifang Dumpling targets the basic economic needs of the common people in Taiwan, but this strategy has been difficult to implement in mainland China. The pricing of Baifang dumplings in China is slightly higher than in Taiwan, which doesn't appeal to the budget-friendly preference of the local population. Given the numerous inexpensive dumpling restaurants in China and the intense competition, Baifang Dumpling finds it hard to gain a competitive advantage in such a market. Meanwhile, the WOW Prime Corp has reported a decline in performance and announced that it will adopt a strategy of being conservative and cautious without large-scale expansion. In 2019, US-China trade war not only severely impacted Chinese exports, but also created a chill in the domestic market. This downturn affected Taiwanese restaurant chains expanding to China as well. Reports indicate that WOW Prime Corp profit from its Chinese operations was only 1 million yuan in the first half of 2019 compared to 58.5 million yuan in the same period the previous year and 150 million yuan in the year before that. This is a dramatic decline. WOW Prime also encountered numerous challenges while expanding in China, closing down several branches including Stonepot, Shirguo, its French restaurant brand, and Shanwan Zhaomian within a year. WOW Prime chairman Chen Hui-chen analyzed that China is facing an exodus of manufacturing plants and the effects of the US-China trade war. He believes that for the domestic market to return to pre-pandemic prosperity, it will take a long time. Consequently, the company's strategy in China will become more conservative and cautious without large-scale expansion. Despite the pandemic, WOW Prime's business in China was quite profitable before the outbreak, and the company never considered drastic measures to survive during the pandemic. However, now a conservative approach and careful observations are needed. The revenue of Chat Time has significantly decreased. When it comes to international tea brands, one name stands out, Chat Time, a bubble tea joint from Taiwan known as the never-setting sun of milk tea. Chat Time has expanded to over 800 stores in 38 countries and regions by early 2019. Founded in 2005, Chat Time's parent company Lacafa International reported a combined revenue of nearly 2.5 billion Taiwanese dollars in 2017, with Chat Time contributing over 60% of this total. Impressively, more than 92% of its revenue came from overseas markets, solidifying Chat Time's reputation as a global leader in the bubble tea industry. Chat Time has expanded impressively with over 800 stores worldwide, including in the Philippines, where even President Duterte's partner, Hanila Davencia, is a franchisee. Lacafa International has seen remarkable success in Southeast Asia, but its performance in mainland China has been less impressive. In the first half of 2019, Chat Time's revenue shrank compared to the same period in the previous year. Lacafa International's investment in Rayleigh Hangzhou Catering Management, which operates Chat Time in China, recorded a loss of 12.9 million yuan, a tenfold increase from the 1.1 million yuan loss in the same period in 2018. As a result, the company shifted its focus for new store openings towards Australia, Europe, and America and Southeast Asia. The group's beef noodle brand, Duan Chenzhen, announced its entry into the Hong Kong market in October 2019. However, the tea brand in China, including Hero Tang Tea and Guomai, which together have 1,500 stores, experienced a significant decline. Print media reported that revenue estimated for the first half of 2018 to be over 30 million yuan, but by the same period in 2019, it had dropped to just over 20 million yuan, suggesting a reduction of more than 20%. During its rapid expansion, Chatham faced another setback. Due to unfamiliarity with customer procedures in mainland China, the bubble tea ingredients were held at the border. Compounding the crisis, they faced soaring rental costs and neglected employee training, resulting in declining service quality and unsustainable store operations. Consequently, founder Henry Wang decided to temporarily exit the mainland China market, ending the never-setting sun era of the brand. In February 2023, a Taiwanese multi-brand restaurant operator ttfB Company Limited ended its operations in mainland China. ttfB, which had opened 11 stores in mainland China, faced setbacks and decided to cease operations there. While the brand has not commented on the situation, experts suggest that the shrinking domestic market and the high rate of counterfeiting in China pose significant challenges for Taiwanese businesses. Financial expert Wang Jiemei noted, in China, if they see your business is doing well, they might open a similar store right next to yours, possibly at 2/3 of your price. This is a major issue in China. With the closure of its Shanghai branches, Taitown and Xishixiang in February 2023, ttfB no longer has any presence in mainland China. The company stated that its primary goals are to deepen its roots in Taiwan and expand into the United States. They emphasize that the store closures have a limited impact on overall operations and that their subsidiary in mainland China will be transformed into a procurement center. The renowned yakiniku restaurant chain, Kanpai Group, has reduced its numbers of stores in mainland China. In 2015, Kanpai Group made the first venture outside Taiwan by opening the flagship store Kanpai Classic at number 5 on the Bund in Shanghai. The restaurant introduced the highest grade of Australian grain-fed Wagyu beef, Taiwanese-style service, and premium Japanese sake. It received a Michelin 1-star rating in the Shanghai Michelin Guide in both 2016 and 2017. This year, Kanpai Group has intensified its efforts to streamline its operations in mainland China by closing underperforming stores. In the first quarter, they shut down 3 locations, primarily in Shanghai and Shenzhen. Currently, Kanpai still operates stores in Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, Shenzhen, Chongqing, and Hangzhou under the brands Kanpai and Kanpai Classic. Kanpai Group total number of outlets throughout mainland and Taiwan increased from 67 at the end of 2022 to 73 by the end of last year. In Taiwan itself, the number of stores grew from 43 to 51, while in mainland China it reduced from 24 to 22. After closing 3 more stores in the first quarter of this year, the number of stores in mainland China has come down to 19. Kanpai Group is actively preparing for its second overseas market, the UK. They plan to introduce Kanpai Classic as a Wagyu cuisine specialty store in London's Soho district. The restaurant will feature Japanese and Australian Wagyu beef, yakiniku, and Masuzumi Zunmai Ginkgo sake, occupying a space of 120 square meters. Many world-class brands are reducing their sales in China. While reasons haven't been explicitly stated, Chinese media often attribute this to the rise of domestic brands and the so-called kingdom of counterfeits gaining prominence. This interpretation is quite amusing. The eastward expansion into the US is unstoppable. 85C is partnering with the J&G Group to expand its investment in the United States. They plan to open a flagship J&G fried chicken store in Hacienda Heights, a Chinese community in Los Angeles, on March 30th. In 2024, they aim to open 3 more stores and have a target to open 150 locations within 10 years, aiming to develop J&G Fried Chicken into a Taiwanese fried chicken brand with a presence across the entire United States. Dr. Cervantes Lee, a professor in the Hospitality College of the University of Nevada in Las Vegas, stated that the eastward expansion of Taiwan's restaurant industry into the United States is unstoppable. More and more Taiwanese restaurant brands are looking to invest in the US. He will assist the American Institute in Taiwan and the US Department of Commerce in leading a Taiwanese delegation to the National Restaurant Association show in Chicago from May 18th to 21st. Additionally, from May 23rd to 24, he will conduct a 2-day executive training course for restaurant managers at University of Nevada. Dr. Savanti Lee encourages more Taiwanese businesses and young people to enter the restaurant industry in the US. In recent years, major malls across Southern California have seen the presence of Taiwanese brands like Ding Tai Fung, Fung Dumplings, and 85C. These Taiwanese restaurant groups are flourishing in Southern California, attracting not only Asian customers, but also Filipinos, Hispanics, African Americans, and Caucasians. Post-pandemic reopening has revitalized the restaurant industry. In the past, many restaurateurs expanded into China to capitalize on the market of 1.3 billion people. However, times have changed, and there are reports that Taiwan's Ministry of Economic Affairs plan to lead domestic restaurateurs in exploring non-Chinese markets to reduce reliance on China. They are planning a delegation to Thailand in July and a venture into South Korea in October to participate in trade fairs and explore business opportunities. Additionally, they are considering entering Eastern European countries friendly to Taiwan. Li Chenxing, the PR consultant for the Taiwan Association of Chain and Franchise Promotion, noted that as the pandemic winds down, more restaurateurs will look to expand into Europe and Americas and even Australia. The Ministry of Economic Affairs is also considering leading businesses into Eastern Europe, targeting countries like Czech Republic and Poland. They plan to hold working meetings, but whether the Eastern Europe market can attract these businesses will depend on reports from relevant exploratory delegations. The battle for survival in the Chinese market has proven to be a challenging test for Taiwanese brands. Facing such fierce competition and a tough economic environment, choosing to withdraw or downsize may be the best strategy for now. Hopefully, these brands will find new opportunities and growth in other markets.